April 24, 1940. Adolf Hitler signs a decree in Berlin. One name, one title, Josef Terboven, Reichskommissar for Norway. The position sounds boring, administrative, a glorified governor. But it's not. Terboven doesn't report to the German Foreign Office. He doesn't report to the Wehrmacht High Command. He reports directly to Adolf Hitler. No one else. He sets up his headquarters at Skaugum, an estate outside Oslo, former home of the Norwegian Crown Prince. He takes an office inside the Storting, Norway's parliament building. And from those two desks, Josef Terboven has more power than any general in the country. His decrees don't need approval. They don't need votes. They don't need debate. They just become law. Instant. Absolute. One signature from Terboven and it's done. This is how you conquer a nation without firing another shot. You don't need battalions, you need paperwork. But who is this man? Where does he come from? Josef Terboven is born in 1898 in Essen, the Ruhr Valley, Germany's industrial heartland. If you know Essen, you know coal, steel, smoke, the clang of hammers in massive foundries, blast furnaces that glow red through the night. It's a world built on discipline and iron, where efficiency isn't a virtue, it's survival. Terboven grows up in that world. Order, work, obedience. When World War I breaks out in 1914, he's 16. He enlists. First he serves in the artillery, then he transfers to the Air Force. He's not a daredevil, he's steady, reliable, does his job under fire without flinching. He earns the Iron Cross, a medal for bravery. And then, November 1918, Germany loses the war, the armistice, the surrender, the Treaty of Versailles. For men like Terboven, young soldiers who believed in Germany's strength, who fought and bled in trenches, the defeat isn't just political, it's personal, it's humiliation. And worse, it comes with a lie. The stab in the back myth. The story that Germany didn't really lose on the battlefield, that the army was betrayed from within. By politicians, by Jews, by leftists, by traitors who sold out the fatherland. It's poison, and it spreads. Terboven believes it. Many veterans do. After the war, he tries to study law and political science, but Germany's economy is shattered. Hyperinflation, unemployment, money becomes worthless overnight. Terboven can't afford university. He drifts, bitter, resentful, looking for someone to blame. And then he finds the Nazi Party. 1923. Terboven joins the NSDAP, the National Socialist German Workers' Party. It's small then, radical, angry, led by a failed painter and war veteran named Adolf Hitler. That same year, Terboven participates in the Beer Hall Putsch, Hitler's attempt to seize power in Munich. It fails. The ringleaders are arrested. But Terboven isn't high-profile enough to be charged. He slips through. And over the next decade, as the Nazi Party grows, feeding on Germany's economic collapse and national resentment, Terboven rises with it. 1928. He becomes Gauleiter of Essen, a regional party boss. He manages propaganda, organizes the SA Brown Shirts, runs elections. He's good at it, efficient, loyal, the kind of man who gets things done without drama. 1934. He marries Ilse Stahl, formerly the personal secretary of Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's propaganda minister. The wedding witnesses? Adolf Hitler and Joseph Goebbels themselves. Terboven is now inside the inner circle, close to power, trusted. 1935. Hitler appoints him Oberpresident of the Rhineland province, a major administrative post, proof of Hitler's confidence. Terboven isn't flashy. He doesn't give fiery speeches. He doesn't lead rallies. He's a functionary, a bureaucrat, the type who makes the trains run on time. And that's exactly why Hitler trusts him to run Norway. April 24th, 1940. Terboven arrives in Oslo as Reichskommissar. At first, there's a pretense of Norwegian self-governance. Something called the Administrative Council. Norwegian civil servants trying to keep basic government functions running under occupation. Terboven tolerates it. For a while. But by September, he's done pretending. September 25th, 1940, Terboven dissolves the Administrative Council. Just like that, one decree. In its place, he installs a Provisional Council of State. 13 members, all handpicked, all loyal to Germany. He outlaws every political party in Norway except one, Vidkun Quisling's National Samling. The collaborators, King Haakon, deposed, in exile, powerless. The Norwegian parliament, suspended. Norway is now ruled by one man, one desk, one signature. Every law Terboven signs becomes reality. No debate, no vote, no appeal. This is the new Norway, a country that exists on paper, a state run by decree. And the Norwegian people are about to learn what that means. Terboven doesn't rule through speeches. He rules through systems. He merges the Gestapo, the SS, and Norwegian collaborationist police into one surveillance machine. The network is sophisticated, efficient, terrifying precisely because it's so organized. Anyone suspected of resistance can be arrested. No warrant needed, no trial, just gone. Special courts are established. They're not real courts. There's no defense attorney, no jury, no cross-examination, just a verdict. Fast. Sentences are handed down overnight. Deportations, executions, immediate. The fear isn't loud. It's quiet. It's the knock on the door at 3 a.m, the name on a list, the neighbor who doesn't come home. This is bureaucratic terror, cold, methodical, invisible until it touches you. And the people who disappear? They go to camps, Falstad, central Norway, a detention camp for intellectuals, teachers, priests, union leaders, journalists, the people who think, the people who speak, the moral backbone of Norwegian society. Bredtveit, near Oslo, a transit camp, interrogation center. Arrests flow through Bredtveit like a conveyor belt. Some are released, most are sent further north, to colder places, more remote, where no one asks questions. Teachers refuse to teach Nazi propaganda in schools. Arrested, sent north. Pastors refuse to preach obedience to the occupiers, punished. Journalists who ask uncomfortable questions, gone. The camps aren't random violence. They're surgical. They target the conscience of the nation. The voices people trust. And they silence them. This is how you break a society. You don't arrest everyone. You arrest the ones who matter. And in the fishing villages along the coast, people start to whisper. If you resist, they don't just come for you. They come for everyone. Televåg is a small fishing village on Norway's western coast. Quiet, peaceful, boats, nets, families who've lived there for generations. In late April 1942, something happens. 2 German Gestapo agents are killed nearby during a resistance operation. Terboven hears about it. He doesn't order an investigation. He doesn't hunt for the specific individuals responsible. He orders the village erased. April 30th, 1942. German forces surround Televåg. The men, every male over 15, are rounded up. Some are executed on the spot. The rest are deported to concentration camps in Germany. The women and children are taken to internment camps inside Norway. And the village itself? Burned. Every house, every barn, every boat, every structure. Televåg is removed from the map, not as collateral damage, as policy. This is collective punishment. One act of resistance. An entire community destroyed. The message is clear. It's not just about guilt, it's about fear. Resist, and we don't just take you. We take your family, your home, your history. One village, one example. An entire nation watching. If this village is erased again by silence, the men who ordered it win twice. Hit that subscribe button so this record never burns with them. But Televåg is just the visible edge of something much larger. A system, a pipeline. Arrests flow from cities to camps, from camps to labor sites, from labor sites to execution grounds. It's organized, documented, efficient. Falstad handles political prisoners. Intellectuals, clergy, resistance members. Breadweit processes them. Interrogation, sorting, transit. And then they're sent north, to the Arctic, to places with no witnesses. The system runs on paperwork, orders, train schedules, lists of names. It looks clean, legal, administrative, but it's a machine for erasing people. And the worst is still coming. North of Narvik, a place called Bisfjord. Summer 1942, a labor camp near Narvik in northern Norway. The prisoners are Yugoslav, mostly Serbs, political prisoners, captured partisans, sent to Norway as forced labor to build roads and fortifications for the German army, about 288 of them. Then someone reports illness in the camp, disease, maybe typhus, a health risk. The German administration makes a decision, not quarantine, not treatment, extermination. July 18th, 1942. In one night, 288 men are marched out of the camp. In small groups, under guard. They're told they're being moved, separated for safety. Instead, they're shot. All of them. In one night. The killing is methodical, efficient. By morning, the bodies are buried in mass graves. The official paperwork calls it a sanitation measure. 288 lives, one night. One order traced back to Terboven's administration. The horror isn't in chaos, it's in the precision. Problem identified, problem solved. Next task. This is how bureaucracy kills. Not with rage, with arithmetic. The ground at Bisfjord holds what the paperwork won't say. But there's another list being prepared. Quieter, more systematic. Norway's Jewish population, about 772 people, not a large community, but visible, recorded, names, addresses, professions, property ownership. Everything documented in population registers, public records. The Gestapo doesn't need to search. The information is already there. And under Terboven's authority, the arrests begin. Families taken from their homes, at night, in front of neighbors. November 26, 1942, a transport ship, the SS Donau, leaves Oslo. On board, hundreds of Jewish men, women, and children. Families, elderly, infants. Destination, Auschwitz. Most will never return. By the end of the war, about 772 Norwegian Jews have been deported. The vast majority are murdered, an entire community, erased. Not with pogroms, not with riots, with ledgers, lists, train schedules. Bureaucratic precision. The neatness of it is what sickens. Extermination doesn't need hatred. It just needs organization. And through all of this, through Televåg, through Bisfjord, through the deportations, there's a man who pretends to rule Norway. Vidkun Quisling, February 1st, 1942. Quisling is installed as Minister-President of Norway, a government, officially. He gives speeches, signs documents, wears a uniform. But everyone knows the truth. Every real decision goes through Terboven. Quisling is a puppet, a symbol, a national traitor in an official title. He provides the fiction of Norwegian self-governance, while Germany holds every actual lever of power. Terboven despises him. But Hitler insists on keeping Quisling visible, useful for propaganda. A Norwegian face on German rule. So Quisling signs papers that don't matter. Gives orders no one follows. Pretends to lead while Terboven actually governs. The humiliation serves a purpose. It shows the Norwegian people what collaboration looks like, what surrender looks like. And as the war grinds on, as the Eastern Front collapses and the Allies close in from the West, the question becomes clear. What happens when the puppet master's own strings are cut? By late 1944, the war is lost. Germany knows it. The Red Army is pushing into northern Norway, driving German forces back. But Terboven doesn't just retreat. He destroys Finnmark, northern Troms, the Arctic edge of Norway. Tens of thousands of civilians are forcibly evacuated, ordered south, driven from their homes in the middle of winter, and behind them the towns burn. Kirkenes, Hammerfest, Vardu, 10,000 homes torched. 4,700 farms destroyed. Churches, schools, harbors, infrastructure, everything that can't be moved is obliterated. This isn't military strategy. It's revenge, punishment. Families march through snow and ice while their houses light the sky behind them. Smoke rises over frozen fjords. The land itself becomes a scar, blackened, empty. This is scorched earth, not to deny resources to the enemy, to hurt the people who live there. April 30th, 1945. Adolf Hitler is dead. Suicide in a bunker beneath Berlin as Soviet troops close in. The Third Reich is collapsing everywhere. In Norway, the German military high command begins negotiating surrender. Orders come down from Berlin's successor government. Lay down arms, cooperate with Allied forces. But Josef Terboven refuses. He insists Norway must be turned into a fortress, a last bastion of resistance. No one listens. May 7, 1945. Admiral Karl Dönitz, Hitler's successor, officially strips Terboven of authority, orders him to cooperate in the surrender process. The Reichskommissar for Norway is suddenly irrelevant. The desk that ruled a nation is now just furniture. And Josef Terboven, the man who held absolute power, faces a choice: surrender, trial, justice, or something else. May 8, 1945. The day after Germany's unconditional surrender. Terboven is at his headquarters, Skogum, the estate where he ruled for 5 years. He gathers explosives, about 50 kilograms of dynamite. He places them carefully, sets the fuse, and detonates. The blast tears through the building. Josef Terboven dies instantly. No trial, no testimony, no confession, no reckoning. The man who ruled by decree ends himself with dynamite. It's not heroic, it's not redemption, it's erasure. Evil doesn't always face justice. Sometimes it just destroys itself. And the silence afterward isn't peace, it's absence. The war ends. Norway is free, but the scars remain. Televåg, a village erased, families scattered, homes that will never be rebuilt. Bisfjord, 288 men in mass graves. The deportations, 772 Jews arrested, most murdered. Finnmark, tens of thousands displaced, towns burned to ash. The numbers stand, the names remain. Even the Germans, who served under Terboven, despised him. After the war, officers called him brutal, unnecessary, excessive. His widow, Ilse, lived until 1972. But his name stayed buried in shame, and Norway faced a reckoning. How did this happen? How does a sovereign nation fall so far, so fast? How does one man, with a desk, a signature, and a system, devastate an entire country in 5 years? The answer is in the record, in the burned villages, in the camp registers, in the deportation lists, in the silence of families that never came home. Josef Terboven wasn't a demon. He wasn't a monster from mythology. He was a bureaucrat, obedient, efficient, loyal. And that's the most terrifying part. He didn't need rage, he didn't need passion, he just needed orders, and the willingness to follow them. The machinery of tyranny doesn't run on hate, it runs on compliance. He lit the fuse at Skogum and tried to bury the evidence with himself. Subscribe so his kind never decides what stays remembered.